Hi folks, in many of my training programs, I used to come across this one common question very frequently with many of my trainees. You know what is this question? I'm sure many of you also would be having this question in your mind, looking forward for a solution. The question is, so why am I not able to be successful in my attempts? Why I'm not able to achieve what I want? Why I'm always falling short of my goals, or I struggle to reach my goal? I am an ambitious person. I set my goal. I work towards it. I try a lot. But in spite of that, sir, I am not able to achieve what I want, or if at all I achieve, I need to achieve that with great struggle. Folks, my name is Shivakumar Mani. I am a soft skill trainer and a life skill facilitator for many corporates. So let's get into this first session on why success eludes me. This is a serial of 5 videos, short videos, and in each video I'll try to elaborate on a point that which is responsible for eluding the success for you. Also, in one of the video I will cover what you should do and what you should not do, and another video I will also be covering on the words that we use and their influence in our success or failure. So what words we should use and what words we should not use in our communication. So many of us set our goal, we try a lot, we work very hard, but somewhere down the line it is not converted into the result which I am really looking forward for, or that one which I am really desiring for. So why is this happening? First, let us look into the very basics, and then we will move from there step by step. Whatever you call as your ambition, your goal, okay, or your desire, these are all a developed form of your thoughts. Developed form of your thoughts. Nothing there in your thought can become your ambition or will be a part of your goal, or whatever it is. But the point is, we have a lot of thoughts. We think about many things. We develop thoughts on many areas. But most of our thoughts, they come and go. They don't stay either or convert into desire and action. Most of our thoughts are like passing clouds. At a particular moment, the thought comes, and maybe after some time it disappears. And thank God, many of our thoughts have not become our desire, and then later on converted into action and result. If so, I think the jails or the prisons in our country or even in this world may not be sufficient, because I'm sure many of you will agree that many of our thoughts are so weird, so absurd, so arrogant, so violent, which happens at the spurt of the moment, and thankfully they die down. So one, it's good that many of our thoughts never become our ambition and result. So that's one point, let us be very clear. So let's be thankful to that. And then the second point is that, yes, few of our thoughts are developed. Let me underline this word, developed. It is developed by me. Thoughts are formed by me, but certain thoughts are further developed or groomed by me. Even in that segment, the development factor happens up to a certain level, and then it doesn't progress beyond that. A thought comes, you develop that, suddenly the situation changes, maybe your focus changes, and you drop it. At a spurt of a moment, you thought you should become a writer. You read a very good article, and you also have a lot of thoughts coming in, imaginations, ideas, creative thoughts coming in. So you thought you should become a writer. And you started developing, you started reading more books, you started observing the books, how they write, what words they use, how much lines, or what's the size of a paragraph to communicate a particular message, and how they break it up into paragraphs, etc., where those exclamation marks are put, question marks are put, etc. So you observe, you learn, and then you start writing. Maybe you share with your friends, take feedback, and some of the feedbacks are excellent. Hey, that you have that in you, man, please go ahead. As it is progressing, as you are working on that, suddenly you are attracted to something else, which is no way connected with writing at all, no way connected with this type of communication at all. Something that attracts you, maybe some sort of a music. Then you shift from this to that. So you developed it, you nurtured it up to a particular level, and then what happened is that there is a shift in your attention. There is a shift in your desire. So what happens? You just drop that, dump that, and you move on to that. Folks, many of us are in this situation or in this category. Many of us. We touch upon many things at different times of our life, and we never complete anything. They are all hanging like that. And maybe when people reach 60 years, 70 years, they used to brood over these thoughts, and that day I worked on this, maybe I should have pushed myself, today I would have become a great person in this. Unfortunately, something. So this shift is happening. So you develop some thought, nurture it to a particular level, then you drop it and you move on to a newer one. So this is the second category. The third category, they hold on to a thought, and that's the third category is what we are going to really work on and touch upon on the second category. The first category, it's good, as I told you, they keep happening. You have no control on that. So the third category are the people who really work on their thoughts. They take up one thought, one idea, and they push hard, they work hard, they don't get deviated, distracted from that. But still, either they struggle to achieve that, or maybe at some point of time, they drop it. So when this question comes, I try to categorize them, where they are, in category 1, 2, or 3. I'm going to take the category 3, where I think these people really deserve some help. Let us try to look this. Now, a thought, you work on that, it becomes an idea, you further nurture that, it becomes your desire, you further nurture that, it becomes your ambition, and then you give a nice shape to that ambition, and it is now converted into a goal, and you work towards it. Let me tell this process once again. You develop the thought. I'm not getting into how you develop the thought. That's a big subject. So let's start from here. You develop a thought, and you work on that thought and convert that thought into an idea, and you work on that idea and you make that idea as your ambition, and for that ambition you give the shape like the SMART, S-M-A-R-T, and now your ambition has become your goal and you start working towards it. Now we are going to really look into that. Why? The one factor that is absolutely responsible for driving you to achieve your goal, to achieve it in all terms, is the intensity. Folks, there are 3 factors we are going to discuss in 3 short videos: intensity, initiative and importance. In this video, I am going to elaborate on intensity, and in the second video, the initiative factor, and the third video, the importance factor. So now let's get into the point of discussion for this video, that is intensity. Folks, intensity is that one factor which becomes a real driving force. The more the intense you are, the stronger the driving force is going to be. So folks, if your intensity level is not high, your fire, the energy, the enthusiasm level, the drive will not be adequate enough. So that's why many a times we start with something and then drop it. So why this intensity level is not high? Are we really giving importance, or are we thinking about this intensity level? No, this word is very rarely used in our communication. I have the intensity. We never use this word. We always use a very basic word. I have the drive, I have the ambition. But where does the drive comes from? Unless you are familiar with this word intensity and think about it and work on it, the drive is not going to be one, adequate, consistent, and for a longer period, sustained. So how to work on this intensity? How will I make sure that my intensity level is always high? The intensity level depends upon the identity that you have created for yourself. So there are two words we are looking into. One, intensity. That's a main driving force for you to achieve your goal without much struggle. But for the intensity level to be high, there is another factor involved in that, is that identity. How do I identify myself? I am a sales executive right now, and I want to become a sales manager in the next 2 years. So I have set an absolute SMART goal as per what my trainer has told me in the goal setting session. But as days progresses, so it all started very well. The momentum was fantastic, but then as the period went, it slowly started dying down. So that's the problem, and that's what we are trying to understand and get a solution for it. Now, why does it drop down? So I came out to the point called intensity. My intensity level was high in the beginning, but later on the intensity level started coming down. Why? Initially, I identified myself with all that glorious factors or glamorous factors about the managerial job. Also, the intensity was high because I want to get out of this sales executive's job, achieving this target, always poked by my manager. So I want to get into that level and give it back to my other colleagues. So it was all okay. But then, how have you identified yourself? You have identified yourself as a person who is not much convinced or interested or not getting that joy as a sales executive. So you want to move on to the manager level. And another identity that you developed for that is that since my manager is poking me, since that is a glamorous job, the post is very attractive with all the perks, etc., etc. So I want to get there. Now this identification is a very, very weak identification. I am working with a very weak identity. This is not going to help you. You're working on unhealthy factors. You're keeping those unhealthy factors as your identity factors to achieve your goal, and it's never going to work. And that is where many people fail. Why do you want to switch over a job? Either I am not satisfied with the current job, or I want to get a better pay. So you are identifying yourself as a dissatisfied person in the current job, or you are identifying as a person who is getting a better salary in the new job. Both these identifications are very weak. They are not going to fuel that intensity. So what should be my identity? First, the cause should be a healthy one. And when you identify yourself with a healthy one, then the intensity is going to be not only high, the intensity, it's also going to be sustained until you achieve your goal. So let me tell this. I am a sales executive and I want to become a sales manager. Why do you want to become a sales manager? Because you are looking for a career development. And because you feel that you have that managerial capacity, you need to move to the managerial post. Now, if this is what your cause for becoming a manager, the idea that you are developed for becoming a manager, then how are you going to identify yourself? You are going to identify yourself as a person interested in career growth, and then you are going to identify yourself as a person with managerial capacity. Now, when you start working towards yourself, this identity is not going to make you think about the current level, it's going to make you think about the next level which you want to go. Even though I am right now doing the sales executive, I identify myself as a managerial material. So that managerial capabilities will also be exhibited in my sales executive job. I'll be a different salesperson in my team. My manager can identify that with my approach, with the way I take up things, with the way I come out with ideas, solutions, with the way I interact with people. My manager also will be able to identify that he is that managerial material. How could you be able to express that? Because you have identified yourself as a managerial material. And even though you are currently in the sales executive, you are not identifying yourself as a sales executive who want to become a manager. You are identifying yourself as a person with a managerial material to become a manager. You got that point, dear folks? But many of us we identify as a sales executive but want to become a manager. When you identify, as long as you keep identifying yourself as a sales executive, your entire approach is going to be as a sales executive, and you will not be able to express yourself as a manager. Maybe your manager also will not be able to spot that within you. By saying to a manager, by telling a manager, sir, I want to become a manager in the next 2 years, is not going to help you. So folks, the point number one that's going to help you, or the point number one which is missing with us, thereby we are not successful in our adventure or in our ambition or in our goal, is intensity. That intensity is not high. Intensity is not a sustained one. Due to a push, that intensity looks to be good, but then it slowly dies down like a firewood. As it burns heavily in the beginning when the kerosene or any oil is poured over it, but post that it slowly dies down. Even though the fire is there, the intensity is not that much. If you want to cook anything with that fire, it's going to take a lot of time. One may even struggle to get it. So same happens to us also. So what I need to do is that work on my identity. You identify yourself with what you want to become, rather than identifying yourself in the current position and thinking of what to become. Folks, so that identity is very, very important, which is the fueling factor of your intensity, which is the driving factor to achieve your goal. This is factor number 1. That's what we have discussed. Henceforth, so the key learning that we take from this session is that I will identify myself in the position which I want to be. That's it. I will not identify myself in the current position and think of reaching the next position. That's not going to work. Are you clear? So let me reinstate this statement and then we will close this learning session. First, thoughts becomes idea, idea becomes ambition, ambition when structured becomes a goal. This is step number 1. For one to achieve his goal without much struggle and enjoy that, I was talking about 3 factors: the intensity, initiative and the importance. And in this learning session, we have taken the intensity factor, which is the key driving factor. So that which is responsible for intensity is your identity, how you identify yourself. Currently, our way of identifying ourselves is with the current position or the current role I am into, but thinking of reaching the next level. But the correction that we need to make, or the learning from this session, is we will identify ourselves in the role of that we want to be, which is our goal, and then do the current job. So that identity will be expressed in your current role, which one will be identified by your managers. 2, that will automatically push you to the goal you want to achieve. So the intensity will be high, consistent and sustained. So folks, thank you all for being a part of this learning session. I request you all to subscribe my channel and also press the bell button to get notifications of my learning videos. Until we meet in the next learning video, goodbye to all. Namaskar.